reflecting, so that the understanding settles in the mind. Today we'll talk about why we need a 360-degree understanding, because the four challenges constantly haunts the seeker. So once we understand these four challenges and we keep we maintain our state of awareness, the life is going to change. But it takes time. The first thing in the journey is that when you wake up in the morning, does your mind say that I'm a seeker of the real self? I'm the seeker of the absolute truth. Or your mind simply goes back to the same thing. I have a lot of stress today. I did this. Yesterday something happened. And then I have a problem. And I have to meet the challenges. I'm fully busy. It means I have yet to become a seeker. Yet to become a seeker. So we are seeker all the time. Here comes a great seeker. Sam. Good. So you see that? I have to be a seeker all the time. And if I am a seeker, means what? I am a seeker in pleasure and pain, victory and defeat, and likes and dislikes, and distress and dispassion. I need to be a seeker. If I'm not a seeker, nothing is going to happen. We are moving to the next step. To discover that something beyond all the changes, pain and pleasure, frustration and despair, victory and defeat, that seeker is of a higher order. I just saw a guy who has been in this journey for almost, I would say, last 40 years, and recently awakening took place in him. And you'll be surprised that he has, for the last 18 or 19 years, both his kidneys are failed. But when he talks, you can see the glow on his face, the way he talks. He goes very deep into the human problem of miseries and the suffering. It is possible. Your body may be suffering, but you are the real self independent of it. Masters have proved it again and again and again and again, almost for the last 10,000 years. So only if I am a seeker of that order, then only there is an understanding. But that seeking or that seeker, it confronts with the four fundamental problems in the mind and the intellect. And these problems manifest as duality, division. It demands discernment, dispassion, to change the inner state of the mind. I believe you remember the previous sessions. It will become easy. We have a lot of challenges, our past impression, our habit. They demand habitual routine, action, thought, and speech. But the seeker's life demands a new approach to perceive and act with the consciousness. It is a consciousness-based approach. It is not the matter-based approach. It is not the pleasure and pain-based approach. I have a pleasure, I forget. I have a pain, and I am reacting to it. Discerning intellect neither reacts nor forgets. We need to resolve. How to resolve this? How to maintain that state of equanimity amid these changes that is taking place. Body cannot remain healthy all the time. It's very clear. No doctor can maintain your state of health all the time. So there are inner problems, not outer problems. How I respond to the pleasure, how I respond to the pain, how I respond to the duality, how I respond in my relationship. It is a consciousness-based approach or it is dual-based approach. No, I am hurt. Say sorry. I will say sorry a million times. Will that hurt go away? Or is the hurt caused by something deeper inside me? I have to contemplate and reflect. Then only the journey of a life of a seeker begins. We have many hurdles, inner obstacles, inner challenges. So the path of the spiritual growth has its own share of problems and challenges. What is the seeker learning now? Do you have a doubt that you are the body? No, I don't have any doubt. Do you have a doubt that you are the real self? Yes, I have a big doubt. I'm listening to you for the sake of listening once a week, 1 hour. So there are a lot of doubts. There is a mental distraction which adds up to the doubt. There is a deeper level of ignorance. And there is a deep conditioning, cultural conditioning, social conditioning, religious conditioning, conditioning from our family. We need to change that perspective by understanding. So today we are going to understand a little bit about what is the doubt over the validity of a knowledge. I say we are real self, and the real self is not seen. What kind of a doubt enters into the mind? Why? How to resolve it? We are going deeper. You all are seekers. Then there is another challenge, the doubt regarding the nature of the real self. One is the validity of the teaching. Other is the doubts regarding the nature of the self. Why I'm talking about it, these 4 challenges prevents me to live into that state of consciousness which proves that we are awakened. So the one is the validity of teachings, other is regarding the nature of the real self, third is the mental restlessness. Constant mental restlessness, deep-rooted, latent impressions are there. They return on the surface of the mind and they block the realization, they block the experience. Let us go a little deeper into each and every 4 reasons that blocks, that creates a lot of challenges in our life, that blocks the realization, that blocks the awakening. There is no doubt you practice any meditation with clear understanding, it results into calmness, peace, and joy. Anyone. That's not a big deal. What we are looking at that how once I experience that peace and happiness and joy, can that state is maintained? Am I making a wrong statement? That state is already there. Did I enter into that state of the real self, that state of the consciousness which manifests that permanent peace, happiness, love, and wisdom? So what is the teaching? It is a permanent nature of the real self, it means I have to enter into that state. But what is preventing me? Four challenges are there. And all those four challenges, they manifest into the mind and intellect. It is not that you cannot practice lotus pose and then you cannot succeed in meditation. It has nothing to do with it. You are disabled at the physical level and you cannot reach to that state of awakening. No. You may get emotional dependence on the body. That is another thing. And that is a greater level of ignorance. So you see, our Gita and the Upanishad says that the human mind has an intrinsic tendencies that resist perception of subtler realities about our true identity. Did you get it? Space is all pervading, but my mind believes this is my house. My mind has an intrinsic tendency that resists what the subtle reality is. Subtle reality is the space. Where there is a space, you can have a house, you can have a workspace, you can have a mansion, you can have a car, anything. But mind has an intrinsic tendency to resist. Can I give you another example? Look at this guy. He's a vegan, so he has to be spiritual. It's another thing that he is suffering from a lot of illnesses, and in the form of the pills, he is eating everything that is non-vegetarian. I defy the subtler realities. No, you are married, so how can you reach to a state of enlightenment? I can give you millions of examples. Our mind is surrounded by these wrong perceptions and notions. That is why the master says I need a 360-degree understanding. And these challenges enters into the mind. They block the progress. Our master says obstacles, hindrances are inevitable, but recognizing and resolving them is the important on the path of self-discovery. To progress, I have to resolve these. I have to recognize it. I have to resolve this. Then there is another problem of skepticism. Skepticism is there. What is skepticism? If you define skepticism, excess skepticism indicates that reliance on my intellect, reliance on my ego, reliance on my intellect that what I say is right without examination, my perception, my truth. You have talked about it, truth of every person is different. No, truth is only one. My intellect is expressing that truth in a way either to block it or to realize. So instead of skepticism, I need a childlike humility, and that means a purification of the mind is necessary. I know it must, for some of you, it might be going over the head, but if you listen to it again and again, you will understand it clearly. Then there is a problem of mental distraction and conditioning. So if there is a mental distraction and conditioning, it is the mental impurities. We talk about the Rajasic nature, Rajasic and Tamasic tendencies. It needs to be reduced through many practices before I can enter into that state by non-practice. What is the secret about it? Shravanam, consistent listening and learning. Consistent listening and learning. Second is, After listening and learning, constant contemplation and reflection. Third, regular practice in the beginning. Then what happens? That practice becomes a non-practice. So what is listening and learning? So every time we listen and learn a different principle. First is the principle, then we understand the concept. After the concept, we relate that concept in the context of our daily living, and then we apply that in our daily life. Internally, you cannot move your body, it's okay. You can move your body, it's okay. You can sit in lotus pose, it's okay. You cannot sit in lotus pose, that too is okay. Intrinsically, because we are looking for a subtler realities, the higher realities beyond the material perception. And that is why consistent listening and learning is required. Let us look little deeper. And what is the outcome? What will be the benefit? The mind becomes pure and steady, even by consistent listening and learning. Not only that, constant reflection and contemplation, your doubts dissolve permanently. Teachings gets realized. And then knowledge becomes the liberating knowledge. So when the knowledge is liberating, you are into the non-practice. So what are the obstacles? Do you still remember? First obstacle is doubt regarding the validity of teachings by these masters. I'm not teaching from my own. I'm just invoke these principles and help you understand that. Second, there is a doubt regarding the nature of the real self. How can you say the real self is all-pervading, it is beyond time, it is eternal, it is of the nature of peace and happiness, love, truth, and wisdom? And the third problem is the mental distractions and attachment. Distraction is also known as the attachment and aversion. Lack of discernment. And fourth is that we have an egoistic veils, ego veils covering the true self. Because ego has to be related to the body and the mind, the material possessions, etc. So that is why we say you have to get rid of the desire. Let us pick up the first one, doubt regarding the validity of the teaching of the knowledge. One may doubt the truth or relevance of the spiritual teachings found in our text. Your mind may say these texts were written 10,000 years ago. Yes, I always refer to that. Are these teachings still relevant? I'm raising a doubt. So that doubt remains very deep inside. So I have to resolve this doubt. If I don't resolve this doubt, I cannot reach to the highest. So I keep the doubt. This closes my mind to the wisdom contained in them. Doubt regarding to the nature of the truth. Second doubt is the nature, regarding the nature of the real self. How can I be all-pervading if I'm the real self? Oh, let us listen to this guy. No. I have to examine it. I have to understand it. Mental distraction and attachment, we have all been talking on Mondays and Thursdays lessons. And then ego, veils covering the ego sense, ego or the sense of I as a separate, limited entity is the fundamental covering obscuring our real self. If I don't get out of it, nothing is going to happen. Ask yourself why these four problems manifest and why that is why we need a 360-degree understanding. Now you see that I'm connecting the dots. We have accumulated conditioning, past impression. You fought with someone last year, you carry that impression. You enjoyed the pleasure in contact with something, you carry that impression. Tell me, it is a fact. So now these impression forms an attitude, and that attitude triggers when you find a different situation. So under the four categories, the main reason of those accumulated conditioning, the latent impression that obscure the clear light of awareness, and we fall into attachment and detachment. We fall into body identification. Even when intellectually I say I'm not the body-mind complex, but with a sense of attachment I'm trying to understand, not with a sense of dispassion. And that creates a lot of challenges in our daily life. It's very good, yes, pain and pleasure belongs to the body, but whenever you have a pain, and that causes a lot of problem. No, I had a lot of pain in the body, and that is why I was not attending the session. That is why I was not attending the session. I'm talking to a person who is a higher level of a seeker. If you want to progress by just understanding doubts over the subject matter of the teaching, skepticism about the nature of the ultimate truth, indicating or taught by our masters. I told you, it is real self is all pervading, it is eternal. But does your mind really digest it? No, I doubt the principles. Peace is good. Practice of meditation is good. Calmness is good. Why this? The conditioning filters of the mind resist any perception beyond rigid physical identification. There's a stiff resistance in the mind. There's a subtle intellectual pride in doubting high spiritual principles rather than accepting the limitations of one's faculties. I don't recognize the limitations of my mind and intellect in the body. I don't doubt it. Oh, there's a limitation. I doubt these principles. The moment I doubt these principles, I see you are different from me. Your house is different from me. Your car is different from me. Your age is different from me. I cannot enter into that subtle perception. What to do? So that is why we are learning what to do and how to resolve this. How to overcome? Simple, sincere self-inquiry. One answer, simple answer, and then I will elaborate on that. So based on that, they have, our masters have designed, there are 7 or 8 or 9 steps. So if I follow those 9 steps, I can get rid of these 4 doubts. But here, how to overcome the first doubt? Sincere self-inquiry. So what happens by sincere self-inquiry? You sharpen the power of discernment in your intellect. So what happens when you sharpen the power of discernment? You enter into a higher level of dispassion. What happens when you sharpen that power of discernment, power of dispassion? You start recognizing that the inner calmness and the joy is always there. That is your experience. So first time you recognize and you have a sense of belief that calmness pervades everywhere, all the time, in all locations, in all conditions. You see how we resolve the first doubt? By an experience. You have a high fever, but internally you see the calmness. First. Second is the mental distraction struggle, or we all struggle with the mental distractions. And that is why I see, without practice, I cannot get rid of the mental distraction. That is our common approach. Tendency of the restless minds to constantly wander amid random thoughts, feelings, memories, latent desires, or external stimuli. No, that sound was disturbing me. One guy attends the session from the New Jersey and he says, what should I do? He lives in Princeton. And just outside the Princeton, he has a fire station. So fire station, when there is a horn, sound, and he is disturbed. Constant wandering of the attention amid random thoughts, memories, stimuli coming from the world outside. What it means? It is an untrained mind. I have to train the mind. Sensory inputs will always be there. The moment you are in a waking state, these five sense organs opens to the external world and they will definitely pick up their respective objects. Even if I'm not speaking, just for a few seconds become aware of some sound, subtle sound that is still present. You have a sensory input of the temperature. You have a sensory input of the perception. And it is all about the physical perception. So that untrained mind habituated to chase superficial inputs, I have to get rid of this. I have to train the mind. How to overcome? Practice. There we need to practice, relaxation, practice. I have to become aware. Does the sound really disturb me or I get disturbed because my mind gives the interpretation of that sound causing the disturbances? Third problem is the deep-rooted latent impression. Are you understanding that? I'm talking of these four challenges which prevents me to realize that real self 24/7. And they are all living in the mind. Third is the deep-rooted latent impressions. That is known as what we say the veil or the ignorance. Why? Deep-rooted latent impressions are known as the vasanas. They are binding desires. When you talk of them, you feel that there is no binding, but they are still very at a deeper level. One of the binding desire or the latent impression, you wake up in the morning, the first thing your mind says, I am the body. I am the mind. There is a very strong identification. So what happens when I am the body? The subtle and causal layers. Subtle and the causal layers of the conditioning are still dominant in my life. That is why I gave an example of this guy who is living without the kidneys. He undergoes a dialysis, no doubt. He uses the modern equipment. but if you can see his glow, his talk, and his speech. There is a strong attachment that prevents the ego from dropping the identification with the body. So again, I have to purify the mind, I have to sharpen the intellect. I have to understand and practice what exactly is the non-attachment. What is aversion? I have to go beyond this attachment and aversion. How? By self-analysis, by self-inquiry. Saturday's session is all about self-inquiry, self-discovery by understanding the deeper level. How to overcome that? Repeated self-contemplation. Oh, my mind picked up that I'm the body, and my body complained, so I'm now suffering. Now I have a fear of death. You see, from one thought, I am the body, it goes very deep inside. At the subtler mental and the emotional level, I have either an attachment and aversion, and with that attachment, I have a binding desire. Because of the binding desire, I have a fear of the death, and the fear of the death takes over all my knowledge. Knowledge is gone. What the heck you are talking of the real self? First, take care of my body. One example. So I have to replace these thoughts associated with the feeling. How? By self-analysis, by self-inquiry, entering into the discernment and dispassion, then realizing that state of the calmness is deeper inside, in spite the body has a challenges. Tell me whose body does not have a challenge? We compare, Now look at my body. We seek sympathy. Means I'm still the body. By constant listening and learning, understanding, contemplation, and reflection, means self-inquiry, self-analysis, self-observation, changing the experience at that very moment will help us to reach to that state of awareness. Why? Because that awareness is already there. It is not going anywhere. It is not going anywhere. Can consistent listening and learning plus contemplation and reflection will help me to reach to the state of calmness? Answer is yes. Why I say yes? Because you are a seeker. For a non-seeker, it is not possible. He has to go to the primary steps. So what is the difference between the seeker of this session and the beginners in other sessions? Faith and the trust. A higher level of receptivity is nothing but the faith and the trust. I don't believe you, but I listen to you patiently, O teacher, and I will contemplate and reflect. So through the contemplation and reflection, I increase my receptivity, and then I have a trust in the faith, not in the teacher or in the teacher. Why I said not in the teacher? You are being receptive to the knowledge, and teacher is passing on that knowledge. So at a very primary level, at the beginner level, the Eastern wisdom says you should have a reliance and a belief in the teachings of a teacher. But now you are a seeker, it means I should increase my receptivity to see what is the principle. Can I reach to that higher level of awareness? Can I drop my reliance on the physical perception? Can I see something beyond that perception? Should I inquire? we continue to move ahead. So now come to the meditation practice. Meditation practice is done to remove these four doubts. Nothing else. All meditation are done. Whether you do mindfulness or breath mind, or whatever meditation. But if you do not understand, so what happens? Those four doubts continues to remain. Conviction does not come. So every time you practice meditation, you have an experience of calmness and peace. And after a few hours, those doubts creeps into the mind. And then we continue to live into the state of ignorance. You have to contemplate and reflect how these four doubts are removed, destroyed by the practice of meditation. Now all those four doubts are removed. Do you need a practice of meditation? Answer is no. You don't need those practice. Then what happens? You continue to live into that same state. That is what is known as awakening. See? So I have to address the problems of skepticism, distraction, ignorance, deep conditioning. They have to be overcome. It leaves the mind in the purified state. That is what I was talking about, a 360-degree understanding. All hesitations settle down. When the all hesitation settles down, that is why we use a metaphor. There is no wave in an ocean, the water is calm, transparent. You can see very deep inside the water what lies deep inside. In that transparent state, purity of the mind, you can see the real self is reflecting there. And you can find out. Just to last week's session, I said 360-degree understanding. So you see that how you have to contemplate what exactly I desire. The second step I picked up is the understanding the desire versus self-fulfillment. What exactly is the self-fulfillment? My intellect is very clear about it. I'm aware of it. Self-fulfillment here and now. Now I have a lot of problems, just finish the lesson. I have to address it. Third problem out of the four. Your mind has picked up the problem. Self-inquiry begins by understanding the four goals in life. I have to create that harmony. First three goals are outside. Fourth goal is self-discovery or liberation. So if I don't address these three issues in the world outside, it does not matter I need to have $1 billion. No. Whatever I have, I should have a total acceptance and acknowledgement, and then I should create a harmony outside so that nothing disturbs me outside. And then my mind can devote itself and dedicate itself. So there should be an ultimate harmony in the 360 degree. I talked about it, that can awakening takes place or be attained if we do not balance the other three? Yes. Do you have that will? Do you have that power? Go to the monastery, become a monk. Leave all the three desires. All the three desires are taken care by the monastery. There are many monasteries still available. They give you a humble room, attached bathroom. They give you 2 or 3 pairs of clothes. They give you 3 meals. They don't meet your pleasure. Are you ready? So you see, if you don't meet those 3 goals, yes, it is possible. But we are all living in the world. So I have to look back. If I'm married, I have to see the harmony. Do I have a harmony? Harmony coming from my mind towards my relations, towards my profession. Do I follow what is right and good in the society so I don't have a fever? I don't have a fear. No, I speed up. I overspeed the limit. And camera was there. Who knows that I will get a notice? I should not have that kind of a fear. One example. If I'm living a worldly life, is it possible? 100% possible. I also addressed why it is only for the human being, not for the other living species. Why liberation is only possible? Because I have an intellect. I can objectify. I can objectify this body, which I have subjectified. I can objectify the mind, which I have subjectified. What do you mean by subjectified? I am the body and the mind. I am the ego. I have the pleasure and pain. I have subjectified each and everything. Oh, I have a big house. I have a big car. I'm more intelligent than you. This is what the ignorance is. This ability is present only in the human race. I have a highly developed intellect. I have a level of self-awareness which animals do not have. So don't believe the false notion, dog yoga and cat yoga. But don't oppose them. Oh, very good. You're doing very good. Dog yoga. And monkey yoga is also possible. Be very clear. Huh? Then lizard yoga is also possible because it is going against the gravity. Don't get caught into these false notions. That is what we covered. And today we covered the 4 basic challenges the mind poses that prevents the awakening and the self-realization. So how to address that we will take up in our next session. Eyes are closed. Eyes are closed. Yes, I said eyes are closed. Now can your mind move to the subtler level of a perception? Why I said you to close your eyes? You are in a contemplation and reflection mode. You challenge each and every statement the teacher makes. You need not to think that you are criticizing me. But when you think that you are criticizing me, you have a skepticism. I can tell you there's such a subtler level of analysis our masters offers. No, I'm sorry to object to you. No, you should not be sorry to object. You should make it clear why I said you to close your eyes. Symbolic, metaphorically, that physical perception is done through the sense organs, and real self is subtler than the subtle. Another point that no sense organ can really perceive all-pervading real self. Why? There are limitations of each and every sense organ. Eyes can have limitations. It cannot see very near object. It cannot see very far. Same thing with the sound and ear. Same thing with the taste. Same thing with the skin of touch. Look at it. Same thing with the smell. They have limitations. So through the reflection, my agitation caused by the sense organ calms down. And you see, what is the another limitation? Can you get it? My eyes cannot hear. My ears cannot see. See their limitations. So the instrument has to be unlimited to see, to witness the unlimited. And it is only possible at the subtler level. And that is why we have a teaching of withdrawal of the sense organs. A lot of stuff is there. Withdrawal of the sense organs. If you do not understand, then we say, okay, go on breathing. No. Oh, breathing is not helping you. I cannot do it. So do the mantra. We have hundreds of tools and practices. Understand with that clarity. Oh, it is because of this we are doing it. So, over dependence on the physical and the material perception through the sense organ creates the first doubt over the validity of a teaching. Can you see love? No. Can you see honesty? No. But can I know it? Yes, I know it. Can you see the infinite space? No. But can I know it? Yes, I know it. So it is the intellect, through the analysis, we get rid of the doubts over the validity of a teaching. Lack of conviction is there. Conviction where is not there? In the intellect. So what to do to get the conviction? Constant contemplation and reflection, challenging the false assumption in the mind itself. So that is why we talk in the principles, and then you do the practice. So rare are the people, who listen to it, who are absorbed in their teaching. They just contemplate and reflect, and they get out of this. That is where what happens, the mind tends to move inside. It says, no, let us see what is the subtle, what is the nature of the real self. If you are talking like this, that is our second doubt. So what happens? There is a withdrawal of the mind that is scattered in millions of directions from outside to inside. Shay, is your mind still scattered? Check. Scattered because it is creating the thought image of those objects which has been perceived and experienced by the sense organs. Can you recall what is the practice here? Pratyahara means a pre-meditation practice. So if you have a clear understanding, you don't need to do the practice. You recognize them. Oh, yes. So what I said, mind scattered in millions of directions outside because of current impressions that I received yesterday until now, and the millions of the impressions that is accumulated inside my head, and it multiplied over a period of the time, causing attachment and aversion at a subtler level. Oh, the third challenge of the mind, that is creating an ignorance. Oh, yes. So you live into the field of awareness, and that is what I used to explain. In the field of awareness, you raise your self-awareness. How? By being comfortable and being carefree. And again, remember, being carefree and being comfortable are not the practice. It is a shift of your awareness from many to one, from going beyond the attachment and aversion. So you ask the mind to live into that awareness or knowledge. Knowledge of what? Knowledge of being comfortable. Can you see how I express being comfortable and carefree at a very subtler level? Am I comfortable? Yes. So I hold on my mind on being comfortable. And still I see the impressions causing the experiences of discomfort, unease in the body. But I know not the body, so I'm still comfortable. You see, all the four challenges are met without practice. It's subtle. I'm going to open it up each and every. So the same thing happens being carefree. Am I carefree? Yes, it is being carefree. You cannot become carefree. Becoming, it means that, I extract, I create carefree and comfortable. So when I think in terms of becoming carefree and becoming comfortable, it is because of the four challenges I encounter during the journey. So being carefree, yes, we are all carefree all the time. And do you remember the definition of being carefree? I said free from the cares of the mind. And I explained to you, you're free from the cares of the mind. How the mind cares? It has to care based on the past impression and habit and your false assumption and perception. Tell me if it is not. Certain fears returns. You tell me, what do you mean by being carefree, free from the cares of the mind? How can you be free from the cares of the mind? By being aware, objectifying the mind and all its content, including the four challenges you have objectified. What happens? You are in the state of carefree. Let us say, reflect on that. Are you doing anything? Ask your mind. No. But the thoughts are coming and going. I'm not doing anything. They enter into the mind, they leave it, they stay. But unconsciously, habitually, we identify with them. And when you identify with them, identification, subjectification. Subjectification, I thought comes. I thought is ego. Ego always lives on the body, mind, complex in the world outside. Ego lives on the duality. Ego says, I have a pain today and I have a pleasure today. You see the series, and this is caused by the four challenges the mind poses because of ignorance, because of mental distraction, because of the doubt regarding the nature of the real self, and because of the validity. My intellect at a deeper level, because of the past impression, because of my physical perception, it has a doubt over the validity of the teaching. Being aware and being comfortable are the traits and the properties of the real self. It cannot be the property of the body, mind, intellect, ego. See that? Can I see that clearly? Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Bring your awareness on the right hand, your awareness on the left hand. Lift your both the palms, place it on your eyes. Open the eyes inside the palms. Know your experiences. Bring the hands down. Share your experiences, whatever your mind has reflected. How are you, Stephen?
Good, thank you, sir. I am clearly in peace, calm, and feel very balanced right now. Thank you for that lesson. A lot of reminders in there. For me, it all comes down to the awareness and the heightened awareness, whichever way that is, to be able to always trigger the contemplation, reflection, self-inquiry. And through this today, it made me think more of the importance of really accepting things as they are without perception, opinion, and ego.
Yes.
And all that with heightened awareness really sets the tone for that release of the real self. So thank you.
Yes. Yes, when we accept the things as they are, it is absent of these four challenges. That is how we have to see the things as they are, because if there is a presence of these four challenges, the validity of the teaching, the doubt over the nature of the real self, lot of distractions and hesitation, and a level of ignorance where the mind keeps the idea that I'm the body-mind complex, then only I can accept the things as they are. I'm just attaching it for the sake of clarity and understanding. How are you, David and Jerry?
Thank you. If there's something magical I find about Saturday's practice and the lesson, it's kind of just a reset, I guess, is the best way to describe it, and it's perfect for a Saturday so that there's lots of reflection and contemplation through the rest of the weekend. So my meditation today was very, very deep, and you startled me when you started doing Om Shanti towards the end. So thank you.
Beautiful. Yeah, beautiful. That's good. How are you, Jerry?
Sir, I'm good. Thank you. The idea of listening and thinking we understand, but not applying the knowledge, leads back to the ignorance and delusion. But with the application of the knowledge, we seat ourselves there with the faith that you talked about. So we're seated there. We have no doubt. And then we get rid of the vasanas and the habits, and we live present each moment without worry or any preconceived notions. We're just present for the moment.
That's a right expression. And that is the reason the masters have opened our intellect to these four challenges. So the moment I become aware of these four challenges, that very awareness drops it. And then we are into that state. Beautiful. Thank you. How are you, Brandy?
I'm fine. Morning. My meditation was really clear. It was really present, and some things that I kind of reflected on were like just not getting involved, not getting attached. I think everyone's kind of said that in their own way so far. And a word that stood out to me during the lesson, you're talking about being in harmony, in your relationships and at your job. And I think if you don't get involved and attached with all the impressions, you can be in that harmony, and you can be living from a place of peace.
Yes, you are right, Brani. If we remember these four challenges is the cause of the problem, rift, reaction, duality, conflict, delusion. Whether it's a matter of relationship at the personal, professional, social, and anywhere, anytime. But it demands an extraordinary awareness all the time. That is where we land up, yes. I could say very uh, attentive eyes of Terry, but let me go first to the Dennis.
Thank you. My contemplation today was revolving around recognition or becoming aware of these challenges in the mind and of the mind. Because when I ask myself a question whether I have any doubts, whether I understand everything, the mind is ready to answer, yes, I don't have any doubts, and I'm very clear about everything, and I'm ready to logically follow any statement and explain it to myself and to everyone else. And then the next question I ask them, why are you still not enlightened? And that's where the mind has to shut up and to go deeper inside to find these flaws and these very subtle doubts and challenges that it still has. So
It's
yes.
a beautiful explanation. It's a beautiful explanation. I should keep on asking why I'm not there. I understood everything, yes. Really, are you crazy that you have understood? Yes. Then why you are not crazy? Crazy means awakened. So I have to ask myself, yes, keep on asking this question. That is really a wonderful way to contemplate and reflect. How are you, Terry, if you want to speak?
I think that my reflection was that, for example, if I feel anxiety, that I think if you're in the present moment, you're not gonna feel.
Yes.
It's about the future and the past.
Yes.
And if you have faith in the, I forget the word.
Faith in the teaching, faith in the real self, faith in the
Well,
truth.
that the one conscious.
Yes, yes.
Oh no, the word I want is not Tornum, but the next one, the one after that.
Auspicious.
Yeah, the auspicious.
Yeah.
Hello, yes, thank you. That will take care of you, then it will. But you have to believe it. And then it does. Then if you experience that, then that just gets rid of some of those vasanas.
Not
right?
some of those, all the vasanas.
All of them.
Not some of them.
In one shot?
One shot, yes.
Okay.
In coffee shop, you may have double shot, triple shot. Here, only one shot is required. You see, our mind is so much heavily conditioned. Only in one shot. Yes, there is only one shot. There is no two shot. So two shot means...
Otherwise, that would be duality.
That is a duality. That is a doubt. And that is what Dennis asked the question different. Why I'm not enlightened? So there is a duality. So you,
yes, I think
yeah,
it is related to what he said.
yes.
Yeah.
Beautiful, beautiful. We need to contemplate every day. How are you, Vaibhav?
Thank you, sir. So I'm good. Practice was calm, and like working on the mind challenges, like it gradually opens up the mind and it knows something more than which was I was not knowing earlier. So it's kind of continuous learning when I work towards my mind challenges. So
Yes,
just calm.
yes. That is what our master says, that consistent and conscious learning plus the contemplation and reflection adds a bit of knowledge, removes a bit of ignorance, and gradually the time comes, all ignorance is gone. And we are there. So beautiful way to put it. How are you, sir, Sam?
Namaste, sir.
Namaste, sir.
I think kind of related to some of the challenges, but one of the focuses that I've been having this week is figuring out how to properly self-inquire without self-judgment. So just curious as to your thoughts on that.
Yes, you are right. So when you ask a question, how to do the self-inquiry without being judgmental. So I have to go back to my Mondays and Thursdays session. I have to prepare my mind to live into that level of awareness so that I can do the self-inquiry without being judgmental. The moment I'm judgmental, there are a lot of challenges in the mind. There is used the word vasanas, and also Terry used the word vasanas and the latent and the past impressions. So pay attention and contemplate on these four challenges. Lives in the mind, causes you the fear, anxiety, duality, conflict, problem, body-mind complex. Even Terry, you have a feeling, certain feeling about the body because of these four challenges. If you live into that awareness, challenge is not there. That is all for today. Thank you. We'll meet again.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
sir.
Thank
Thank you. Namaste.
Namaste.